Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
The graph in the graph X is represented as the property graph. So, graph in a graph X is called a property graph. Property graph has information such that every node has the vertex ID and also it has the properties. This particular vertex has two information, one is called vertex ID, the other is called the property, and both this information are stored in a table which is called a vertex property table. Now, similarly the edges have the edges have the IDs of both the ends. So, for example, in a directed edge it will be originate is the source ID and the destination ID. So, this will be the edge IDs, and then every edge will also contain the property with associated with that every edge. So, this information is stored in a table which is called a edge property table. So, we can see here that for example, the vertex I, the vertex ID I and vertex ID F. So, vertex ID I and vertex ID F. So, vertex ID I will have this particular property that it is a professor and it is from Berkeley. Similarly, the vertex ID which is F, the name is Franklin or the ID is F. So, it is also a professor, but it is also working in the Berkeley. Now, if you see this particular edge between I and F, so the edge between I and F is represented over here and it represents a property which is called coworker. So, we have seen that the vertices have the properties, vertices have IDs and also a property, and we can represent the vertices in a form of a table which is called a vertex property table. Similarly, the edges are represented by source ID and destination ID, and every edge also has a property, and this edge property table contains the information about all the edges. So, vertex property table and edge property table will form the representation of a property graph. So, graph can be represented in a form of a property graph can be represented in a form of the tables. Property graph can be represented in a form of a table which are called as a vertex property table and the edge property table. So, the graph, again I am repeating this aspect which is very important, that graph in the graph X is called a property graph, and the property graph is represented in the form of a table which is nothing but vertex property table and edge property table. So, graph can be viewed, so as graph is represented as the property graph, and it can be changed or it can be viewed as the table also, that is having the property table, vertex property table and edge property table. So, property graph is represented as the distributed table. So, we can see here that if a graph which is called a property graph, if it is too big, it cannot fit into one machine, then we can cut across these vertex and once it is cut across these vertex, the first part can be stored in one machine, the second part can be stored on the other machine. So, for example, the corresponding vertex table and the edge table can be stored in two different machines. So, this is machine number 1, this is machine number 2. So, A, B and C. So, the upper part will be stored in the first 3 nodes of the table will be stored in one machine, the another 3 nodes will be stored in another machine. Similarly, the edges. So, all the edges which are in part 1 will be stored in the first edge table. Similarly, the remaining edges are stored in another table. These vertices and edges, how they are communicating with each other is communicating through each other via a routing table. So, routing table is also another table which is added in between. So, there are 3 different tables which you will see here to represent the graph as a form of a table, and this particular property graph will be represented in this way as the distributed tables. So, vertex table, routing table and the edge table. By routing table we mean that, so the for example, the vertex A is being referred by the edges in both the parts, that is it will be referred by A, it will be referred by B, it will be referred by F. So, that means the vertex A will be referred in both the partitions. Therefore, it is represented as the routing table will contain the partitions where this vertex A will be referred. And for example, the node or a vertex E will be only referred in the second partition, hence the routing table for E will contain only 2, the second partition. This way the vertex table and edge table can be distributed and with the help of routing table together will be used as the distributed tables. There are different table operators which are inherited from the Spark that we can see here. Let us see the graph operators which are supported here in graph X. So, graph is represented as a class graph, vertex and edges, where the graph vertices is nothing but having a table as of IDs and vertices, and edges are also having the table of source vertices and destination vertices and the edges properties. So, this is the representation of a graph. So, graph is represented as the vertices and the edges, whereas the vertices are represented as the vertex property table and edge is represented as a edge property table, and these are represented together as the graph. So, graph here is represented as the vertex property table comma edge property table, and which is shown in this particular representation of the graph. Now, having defined this particular graph in this manner, so you can also see the graph as the table view. So, the vertices is represented by this table, that is called a vertex property table, edge is represented by the edge property table, and also there will be a triplet view of a particular graph. That means, so triplet view of a graph is also a triplet view table can be represented. There are various transformations in the graph which are supported here in the graph X is called the reverse of, then subgraph, finding the subgraph and then taking the map of this particular graph. The join operations are also performed on the graph and the computations are performed in the graph. Now, the triplet join vertices and edges. So, triplet operator joins the vertices and edges. So, if this is the edge between A and B, so it will also combine with both the vertices A and B along with this edge is called a triplet. So, triplet means that edge plus both of its vertices is called the triplet. So, we can see here that this edge will have the property A also, property of vertex A, and this edge also has a property of vertex B, as well as it has the property of the edge AB. Together all three things is called the triplet. Triplet is supported in the GraphX and is very much useful in building the graph algorithms. The MapReduce triplet operator sums the adjacent triplets and which will be used in various graph algorithms. Let us see that how MapReduce using triplets can solve some of the problems of a graph analytics. So, for example, this vertex A want to do the computation, it requires the information from the neighboring vertices, and using the map function on this triplet, you can emit the A1. Similarly, for the map function between A and C, it will output A, and then reduce will combine them together, this particular view. So, once the triplet view is there, then map function and reduce function can become very efficiently programmable in building the algorithms. Let us see that how using this triplet view we can write an algorithm or a program for finding the oldest follower. So, the question is, what is the age of oldest follower for each of these users? So, let us see a simple program which can solve this particular problem, and you can see here that in this particular example, for example, the node A is followed by C and C and B. Now, let us see that it says that what is the age of the oldest follower of each user. So, the follower of A, the oldest follower of A is 42. Similarly, you can find out the follower of C, which is 75, and 23, this is 75, and then you can find out the follower of 16 is 30, and follower of 19, which is 16, and follower of B is basically 19. So, out of these different followers, you can find out the maximum, that is the answer will be the C with the value 75. Now, this you can program using the triplet in a quite efficient manner. So, you can find out using the graph triplet using MR triplet, which will say that the edges with the destination and source with the destination ID E and the source ID age will be now taken up as the maximum of all the triplets which are merging at any node. So, you can see that this A will have this triplet, A will have another triplet. So, it will find out the maximum of all the triplets a particular edge is having, and this way it will now then emit the age value, and it will take the maximum in the reduce function. And this way you can see that using triplet it will be a very simple program to find out these details. Let us see the GraphX system design details. Now, as we have seen that the graph is represented as a property graph, and which is nothing but the distributed tables, and here these different aspects, that is the vertices, edges and property tables, they are represented in the form of the RDDs. Let us see how this distributed graph is internally managed in GraphX. Why distributed graph is required? Because the graph is very large. It's called large scale graphs. Now, this large scale graph cannot be accommodated in one computer system. Therefore, it will be stored in a distributed manner, hence it is called a distributed graph. If you say it is a distributed graph, that means the graph can be cut into different pieces and being stored across the cluster of machines. How that is all done, we are going to see how the GraphX will support this distributed graph. So, this is the example of a small property graph. Let us see how it is done in the SparkX, in a GraphX. So, the graph comprises of two tables, which is called a vertex Now, this particular GraphX, which is this particular graph, which is called a property graph, has the vertex property table and the edge property table. Now, vertex property table will be represented as the distributed table of this vertex table. So, this is called vertex table RDDs, which are supported in the GraphX. So, the vertices, all the vertices of a graph, let us say that it is a millions of vertices. So, it cannot be accommodated in one table in one computer system. So, obviously, several computer systems are required. Let us understand that 2 computer systems is good enough for this example to store the vertex table in the form of RDDs. Now, as far as the graph is concerned, we are going to cut this particular graph across the vertices, and this particular way these part of the graphs are stored in as a distributed graphs. So, let us see that once we cut the vertices, then there are 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. So, part 1 and part 2, they are stored in different machines. So, obviously, the edge part, that is called edge property table, which is nothing but a edge table RDD, which is stored in 2 different machines like this. So, the first part will have AB and then AC, then BC and then CD. So, the first part is represented in the form of a edge table. Similarly, the second part, which is called AF, then AE, then FE and then ED. So, all the edges of the second part is stored on the second node. So, this way the vertices are also split and stored in different nodes, edges are also stored on different nodes, and this way it is called the distributed graphs, which are stored in this way. Now, the thing is, whenever there will be a communication between AB or AC or between AF, and so how this is all facilitated, that we are going to see, because all these vertices and edges, they are stored on different nodes, and they are, it is called a distributed graph. So, for example, A would like to communicate with with the both the nodes, that means the part 1 and the part 2, both the parts will be stored on 2 different nodes. So, this will be communicating with part 1, and the other communication is shown by the arrow as of the part 2. So, A will be communicating to part 1 and A will be communicating to part 2. To support these edges, that is to support these edges AE and AF. Similarly, A will communicate with part 1 to support the edges, that is AB and AC. Similarly, as far as B is concerned, B can communicate with BC and BA. So, BC and BA. So, BC and BA both are in part 1. So, it does not require to be communicating with the part 2 in any of the case. Similarly, D is concerned, D will have the communication with C on part 1 and D will have communication with E on part 1. So, D will have part 1 and D will have communication with part 2 also. So, therefore, CD will be part 1 and then DE will be on the part 2. So, therefore, some of these vertices requires to communicate in all the parts where the edge table is being stored, and some of the nodes are required to be communicating with a single part. So, therefore, a routing table will capture this information, and this is shown over here that for the node A it has to communicate with the part 1 and part 2. For B has to communicate with part 1, C has to communicate with part 1, D has to communicate with both the parts, so also for E and F. So, once the routing table captures this information, therefore, the interactions between the nodes and their corresponding edges can be facilitated using the routing table. Now, if we keep this information of the routing table part in with the edge table also as a part of caching, then this communication cost can also be reduced. So, here we can see here that the edge table will now contain the mirror cache of the routing table entries, and therefore, the vertices which are required to communicate in the first portion, in the first part, will be stored in its mirror cache. Similarly, the nodes which are required to communicate on the second part will require to be stored in the mirror cache of that corresponding part. Now, whenever there is a change happening at the vertex table on those nodes, and these particular changes are to be communicated in the mirror cache, and this mirror cache in turn will propagate those changes further on the edge table. Now, as far as whenever this particular mirror cache will be, now whenever the nodes are scanned and requires any changes in the mirror cache, so basically a local aggregation will be performed, and these local aggregation will be communicated back to the vertex table. So, therefore, the number of communications are to be reduced here in this way of implementing the mirror cache and performing the local aggregates. So, whether it is in the vertex whenever some modifications are done or while the scanning of the edges, any computation or any changes are happening at these edges, all these will be now aggregated, and small and the number of communications can be reduced here in this way, hence the performance can be increased. Now, if you measure how much reduction in the communication is done due to the cache updates, so we can see here that even for the connected components computation on a Twitter graph, we can see that so many number of, that means the communication is heavily dropped here in this particular case. Therefore, the performance, as we have seen earlier in the previous slide, that if it is Giraffe or then Pregel or GraphLab, when it compared to the GraphX, so GraphX becomes a better performance in compared to any other graph framework, graph computation framework which are available due to these internal details of implementation using cache updates. So, these we can see that this way of scanning the edges and aggregating the local updates and communicating with them is nothing but they are indexing the active edges. So, the indexing of active edges again in turn will reduce the runtime, and why? Because these runtimes will be reduced because all the data is available in memory and they can be executed efficiently, and the effect is shown here in this particular graph. The runtime and the execution time is heavily reduced. Why? Because the indexes of active pages is being handled automatically internally, hence the time will be reduced. Similarly, in this particular way, we have eliminated the join. So, identifying and bypass the join for unused triplet fields. So, even for the page rank only accesses the source attributes. So, therefore, the factor of 2 reduction in the communication due to the join elimination, you can see the improvement in the communication is quite reduced. Therefore, there are additional query optimizations also available for indexing and bitmaps to accelerate joins across the graphs to efficiently construct subgraphs, substantial index and data reuse. So, reuse routing tables across graphs and subgraphs, reuse edge adjacency information and indices. So, these are all different query optimizations which are possible so that it will accelerate either the joins across the graph, or it can efficiently construct the subgraph, or using the index and data reuse, it can reuse the routing table across the graphs and also reuse the adjacency information and indices. To summarize, we can say that in this particular framework, that is the GraphX, various optimizations are already in place, and we can exploit using these optimizations to make more efficient algorithms on the graphs. So, if we measure the performance, we can see that the GraphX is roughly 3 times slower than the Graph Lab. So, that therefore this large graphs can be easily computable using the GraphX. So, let us see that again we have to come back and see that we can also build a small pipeline in GraphX, and this pipeline can be optimized so that it will be getting better performance. So, pipeline in turn will start with a Spark processing and framework, and so Spark preprocess will take the raw Wikipedia data and convert in the form of a hyperlink graph and use the SDFS to compute this page rank and then perform the Spark processing to capture the top 20 pages. So, if we use this particular pipeline, so you see that the smallest time which is basically is using GraphX. Why? Because this view of table and the graph is integrated or basically unified in GraphX, whereas in all other framework this particular pipeline needs a lot of inefficiencies due to the internal SDFS storage for handling 2 different viewpoints. So, therefore, timed end-to-end GraphX is faster than GraphLab also. So, due to the fact that we have already seen that it has unified view of tables and graphs which are supported in GraphX. So, therefore, GraphX stack has this kind of features, that means it has these different lines of code which is written above the Spark, and different algorithms are available either through the Pregel or GraphLab APIs or directly, which is implemented as the libraries of GraphX. Now here we have discussed the GraphX, which is an alpha release, a part of the Spark 0.9. So again we have to see that this new API is available, and it has given a new system which will combine the data parallel and a graph parallel system. So this particular graphs also is used as the relational algebra. So the queries, SQL queries, can also be operated on the graph data structure. So we have already covered the specific views that tables and graphs. The tables and graphs are composable objects, and specialized operators can exploit these semantics, and also we can efficiently span or build the single pipeline which will minimize the data movement and therefore increase the efficiency. So graphs through the lens of database systems, we can also use different relational SQL queries on top of this particular graph, and various distributed join operations are also supported. So this has become an active area of research, how from static data we can build the dynamic data by applying the GraphX unified approach to a time evolving data model and analyze the relationship over the time. Now serving graph data structured data, serving graph structured data now allow external system to interact with the graph and unify the distributed graph database with the relational database technologies. So we can see here that with this support of all these internal implementations or optimizations of a GraphX, even the power law distribution of the large graphs can easily be supported, even for the Facebook, we can see. So here another property is about the active vertices. It's not all the time the entire graph is to be modified, only the active vertices are to be touched upon. Hence the active vertices will improve the tracking of active vertices will improve the performance. So graph are essentials to the data mining and machine learning. It will identify the influential people information, find the communities, understand people's shared interest, and model the complex data dependencies. Now the graphs can be modeled as the bipartite graph for recommending the products that we have seen. It is also for recommending the products or the movies using the recommendation engines. For example, in the movie case, the graph can also be used. Similarly, to predict the user behavior, we can model the problem as the graph, and we can do the analysis, finding out the conditional random field of belief propagation, finding the communities using triangle count, and will also measure the cohesiveness of local community. For example, fewer triangle means a weaker community, more triangle means a strong community. And also we have seen the building how graph analytics can be achieved using building the pipeline. And so these are some of the references, and this is the paper of GraphX, unifying data parallel and graph parallel analytics.